Welcome to the Omnibus Show, a program for people who are interested in everything, with deep conversations on a wide variety of subjects. And now your host, Dave Gibbs.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Omnibus Show, the program for people who are interested in everything, with deep conversations on a wide variety of subjects. This week's guest is Jason Crouch. He's the executive chef and beverage director for the Hotel Carmichael here in Carmel, Indiana. You'll find him at Feinstein's Vivanti French Eatery and at the many events hosted at the hotel. Originally from Portland, Indiana, Jason graduated from the Culinary Arts program at Ivy Tech, and he has worked at many places, including the Indiana State Museum, the Meridian Hills Country Club, Kahn's Catering, Mesh on Massachusetts Avenue, and the Indiana State Museum, and more. Recently, he was honored by the American Culinary Federation as the Chef of the Year in 2019, and even had a day in the city of Noblesville declared Jason Crouch Day by the mayor. He is also a recipient of the prestigious Edmund Gass Award from Ivy Tech in 2021. Welcome, Jason. It's good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for stepping away to be with us. You're a very busy man today.
Absolutely.
Well, good. Well, to get right into it, to get into the salad first, tell us about your interest in food. What got you interested in the food?
So growing up in rural Indiana, farmers markets, growing our own food was very big in my family and my life. So I grew up around it, the local culture. I remember going to the farmers markets as a kid and selling produce with my mom. And so I always had a love for food. Then I got into high school and really excelled in three different areas. So technical communications, welding, and home ec. My home ec teacher told me I could cook in any kitchen in the world I wanted to, and I took her seriously. So
Wow.
Enrolled at Ivy Tech in their culinary program and used my college visitation days to come down and do job interviews and hit the ground running.
Well, that sounds fabulous. You sound like an all-around kind of hands-on Renaissance man on, down in the market.
I do it all. So,
Well, that's wonderful. So, you came to Indianapolis, and what are some milestones? Walk us through some of the milestones of your career that really were important to you and that were good experiences.
Yeah, so starting out at Ivy Tech, they always tell all the students about the France trip that the school does, and they send 8 students every year over to overseas, whether it be France or Italy or Spain. And always,
But you went to France.
I did. I went to France, which led me to believe that I was an okay fit for this job here, running a French eatery. So that was an amazing opportunity to get the opportunity to go. There's so many students. There was over 600 students in the program when I went there.
Really?
And they only pick 8. So
Wow, that's amazing. Is that in Paris, or do you go out?
So it was a tour of southern France. We didn't go to Paris, but they do the trip's different every year. So
Gotcha.
I was glad that we didn't. Some of the students I talked to that went last year said it was kind of a tourist trap. Going to see the Eiffel Tower and everything would have been amazing, but we got to eat at farmers' houses, and we got to see the French countryside, which is what I'm more interested in than the tourist destinations.
Gotcha.
So that was huge.
That would be
obviously
huge.
for my career and me personally, the culture shock. I remember seeing an elevator that said it fit 6 people, and I'm like, it fits me and my luggage. And I don't ask for extra ice because you get 2 cubes of ice and that's it.
Oh wow.
So that was definitely good for me to see the world and not just assume the way things are in other countries. So that was great. And then I wanted to be an executive chef by 30, and I got the opportunity at 27 to do that. So that was huge. I was working for a company called Bon Appetit, and I got the opportunity to go open a location for them over in Illinois and that was fantastic to do it from start to finish, and get it up and running and see what was really possible, what I could do on my own. So that felt really good to beat that life goal. And then after that, I moved back to Indiana and got the opportunity to open a brand new hotel, which I'd never done before. So that was an amazing opportunity too, and to build lifelong friends, from doing that, because we were basically living there, to get this hotel up and running. So those are the milestones that kind of led me to where I am today.
Sure. And it's great that you're here. And I've had meals at your restaurant, and it's just really delicious.
Well, thank you.
You do a great job. Yeah, because there's so many places that you've had. Early on, you were at the Indiana State Museum. You've been at Meridian Hills Country Club, which here is kind of one of the top country clubs, and they have very fine food. Kahn's Catering, and of course the Cunningham Mesh downtown, which it's quite a wide swath. And with the hotels, it's a very different. What would be some different? We could get some into this in chapter 2, but the differences between, say, working at two different places like Mesh and the Indiana State Museum. Those are two very different situations.
Very. So obviously each kitchen is unique, but I like to say I've done everything but a cruise ship. Everything that I can here, landlocked in Indiana. And
is that before you retire?
well, yeah. I mean, I feel it's important that that way I don't have any opportunities I miss in the future.
Right.
I wanted to experience in everything. So while some people might say I job hopped when I was young, I intentionally stayed everywhere for 2 years and then moved on to something totally different for that experience, so I could eventually run something like this. So I've done the small mom and pop diners. I ran a diner in Beech Grove, and I've done to talk about the State Museum. I was actually there twice with 2 different companies, and
Pardon me, would that be Oasis? I didn't know about the diner. I know of Oasis Diner, but that's not Beech Grove, is it? That's out toward Danville, maybe.
I think so. I've heard of it. I've never been there, but
that's quite different.
It is.
Yeah.
So it was called Glory Days on Main Street in Beech Grove. Still had the small town feel, and it was. I was definitely very young and very green, but the lady let me come in and run it, and still to this day I talk with some of the staff members that were there, because
you keep in touch, which is great.
So very different though from something like the State Museum, where we're running an a la carte cafe every day, and then turning around and doing large scale banquets at night.
That's the same. That's the thing that to me would say that you've got a very wide range there. Of when you're dealing with people, because it's more with food to people, isn't it, when you're doing mathematics on that?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's how we figure everything is per person. That way, some chefs will just, take a guess. Oh, that pan will feed this. Well, we say, well, how many ounces do we need that for each person, and calculate that out. So,
sure.
So then,
Mesh. Mesh is very different itself.
Very different. High volume.
Yeah.
Still lots and lots of food going out the door, but in a different way, different capacity.
Yeah.
So, Mesh was a beast, 2 stories, and nonstop.
It's amazing.
It really is. Yeah.
So I'm just thinking to myself, it's like you're going to have to drink a lot of Coca-Cola to keep working there.
Yeah.
Or coffee. You know,
lots of coffee.
Because with two floors, that's quite a project in that style of a restaurant.
It is. Yeah, it's a beast, and it's been a mainstay for a long time on Mass Ave. Before it was Mesh, it was what's the bread company out of Bloomington? I can't think of the name.
I know what you're talking about. I just can't.
Scholars Inn.
Scholars Inn.
It used to be
right.
Scholars Inn.
Very
restaurant.
good bread.
Yeah. So it's been a restaurant there for a long time, but I think it has like 300 seats. It's definitely the biggest restaurant I've ever worked in.
Yeah, that's quite a place. So you've had quite a few milestones, and then you've ended up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you're doing it's like a multiplex, really, because you have Vivanti. You can explain this better than I can. And you have, here at the Cabaret, you also have the kitchen here, and then you have your events that go out through the week.
Yeah, I fell in love with hotels because of it really encompasses everything I've done in my past. So it's got a restaurant, it's got the large scale banquets, and then this one includes a cabaret also, which is my playground.
Yeah.
So that's why I think I'll stay in hotels for the rest of my career, probably, just because I get bored if I just have one outlet, to handle. Higher ed was also great when I did that. It was the same kind of concept, multiple kitchens, multiple venues. So here, we have our high-end place where I can play with plate-ups and do the pretty side of things. And then we have banquets on a high-end scale that we talked about today. I was just doing some sea bass in a banquet setting. And then come over here and there's no restriction on what kind of food I do, so it doesn't have to be French, it doesn't have to be Italian. I can do anything over here, and so that's the reason we change the menu over here every month, so I do something different and have some fun with it.
That is very fun. That sounds like something that would just make your job pleasurable.
Absolutely.
And it makes people happy, and so it's a great combination.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Jason. Well, we're going to take a brief break right now, and we'll be back for Chapter 2 on the Omnibus Show. Welcome back to Chapter 2 of the Omnibus Show with today's guest, Jason Crouch. And we're talking food and being a chef. Well, rolling right into it, Jason, you had some really great stories about your pathway in being a chef. And it started out when you were in the culinary program at Ivy Tech. And it sounds like you really had a good program here in Indianapolis.
It's fantastic. Back when I went to school, we had 3 or 4 different options in town for culinary arts, and Ivy Tech stood out to me as one of the best, and primarily because of the instructors and the quality of their instructors. We have just 2 left now, culinary schools in Indianapolis, and Ivy Tech is one of those. But yeah, amazing program for a community college.
And how did that help you get focused on being a chef? Like, what was that moment? And I'm thinking of those in the audience who'd be interested in becoming a chef, who like, what's that moment or the set of events? Maybe it was the food. Just like, I want to stay with the food.
Yeah. So when I thought about what I wanted to do, as a career, I said, what's most important to me? Do I want, this huge paycheck, or do I want to be happy, and food makes me happy, and seeing the joy on people's face when they eat the food makes me even happier. So that's when I decided to do it, is when I got to see people react to what I made, all the way back through, Boy Scouts, camping out, and, everyone asked me to cook the chili, and just that reaction from people is what resided in me and said, hey, this is what I want to do. And hopefully I can be good at it, So Ivy Tech gave me that opportunity without breaking the bank and, taking out loans. I was able to pay cash as I went, and really made it affordable and available to me.
Well, that's great, because I know that would be the path for many people, because I know there's a school in Chicago. I grew up in that area, and, Paris in the Sorbonne area, and many other cities.
Absolutely.
And that gets to be that's like going to Ivy League.
Very, very expensive.
So this sounds like it was a great project. So I don't see you as Gordon Ramsay. Gordon Ramsay's programs and the Food Network have given us a lot of insight on the food industry. And enlighten us a little bit about, being the head chef, and being the individual that it's really, you're the overseer, you're the operations manager as well as the chef.
Absolutely, especially in this property where I am chef and food and beverage director. But overall, I would say, just talking about kitchen life and the culture, it's changed drastically in the last 10 to 20 years.
How is that?
Well, you mentioned Gordon Ramsay. That mentality of yelling, cutthroat kind of environment used to be mainstream, in the kitchen. And it's definitely not now, whether it's a corporate kitchen or a small local kitchen. Either way, people just don't stand for it anymore.
Right. You want to keep your workers.
Correct, yes. And it used to be that they would stick around no matter what. But
Gotcha.
and I'm not saying that I'm not condoning what used to happen at all.
Gotcha.
But the environment has changed a lot. So, we have to figure out how we get the most out of our employees or our cooks through respect and teaching. And that's the direction the industry is going, which is a huge improvement.
Yes. That's
over what it used to be.
Taking the stress off and all of that. But you still have to get the steak right, the butter not burnt, and all the food to that level of presentation and as best to perfection, I should say, with the chef here, to perfection,
Right.
that you can for your guests.
Absolutely. And that's the challenge, is mixing that those two things together. The respect and the taking your time with an employee and teaching them the right way and understand that, hey, we got to get this out. We got to do it now. So, yeah, the Gordon Ramsays of the world, I think, are dying off, and a lot of that's put on for TV.
Of course.
But that style has changed drastically.
Yeah, and I think just the way culture's changed on that would make sense. Just that, you just keep workers.
Right. And COVID changed our industry forever. The hospitality industry lost more employees than any other industry.
That's a shame.
It is. And so many people said, what am I doing? Why am I still working these crazy hours, for this little pay? I'm going to go do something else, or I'm going to work from home. Or so I can't remember what the percentage is, but we lost a huge percentage of people that are never coming back to this industry. And so that's why in the hospitality industry, we still struggle to get employees. And so, yeah, things are always evolving, and seeing what we can do, coming up with creative new ways to be efficient.
Well, one good thing is that people are graduating from school every year. So you got new people eventually will come your way. Now, you have a very interesting dynamic here at Hotel Carmichael. Back to management. What are some key differences on managing the restaurant from the cabaret, from the events?
So as far as the kitchen side, it's pretty much all the same kitchen. So it's all the same crew. I don't know that we would say we'd manage them any different, but the front of house side is very drastically different.
Yes.
So managing a server in the cabaret or in Vivant is different from managing a banquet server who might work in all the hotels in Indianapolis compared to a restaurant server that only works here. Can be challenging. We expect perfection here, from the front of house and back of house. So we expect them to know the wine list and expect them to know the menu, where on a banquet, they may walk in not know what they're serving or what the wine list is.
Can I have some more shrimp, please?
Right, yeah. You want, is that ranch? You want more ranch? Okay.
Yeah.
But overall,
so there's more of a volume issue in that when you're having the events.
Correct, yeah. So, and that's the same everywhere for banquets. The staff, Indianapolis has one group of banquet servers, and they all work everywhere.
Gotcha.
So you might see the same one here as it's a JW and vice versa.
Right. That's fascinating.
But yeah, so but managing it is the trick is balancing everything from the front of house to the back of house, and filling in. You have to have those key people that are what we call floaters that can do everything. So we have them in as servers, and we have them in the back of house where that one person can do anything in the building, and they're huge when filling in the holes in the schedule and managing timelines.
Well, that's very important for operations and execution of that. Well, can you tell, can you tell us what's coming up in the near future in your kitchen and what events that you can tell us about?
Yeah, so we're starting to do more and more wine dinners in Vivant, and trying to get the word out about those and get some excitement building for those. I know we've partnered with Duckhorn Wines coming up here next month, and we're excited about that. We're still ironing out the menu, so we're going to have a lot of fun with that one. We also are talking about a bourbon dinner here in Feinstein's.
Oh, really?
Partnered with Angel's Envy. So that's exciting too. I enjoy a good bourbon, so I'm looking forward to pairing some food with it. What else do we have coming up? We have the igloos again this winter for Vivant, so we're already starting to plan for those.
Some people may not know what the igloos are.
Absolutely. So every year, our patio is only open for 4 months out of the year, and so the city of Carmel has come up with a way, I believe during COVID, for us to dine outside in the winter. So the city provides igloos for many of the restaurants around Carmel, and it's a unique experience to be able to dine completely private outside, watch the snow fall. We have heaters in there, and then this year we're talking about a different decor or theme for each one of our igloos.
Oh, interesting.
So you can pick Winter Wonderland or Candyland kind of thing. So excited about that. Not sure yet if we're going to do a different menu for each theme or if we're going to have one, but that's still in the works, but coming along quickly. And then, getting into holiday season and all the holiday shows here in Feinstein's. So, yeah, lots of exciting things coming up.
That's very exciting. And then you've got the season, and you've got all these different locales and theaters and the market, and all the people coming through town who stay here at the hotel. That sounds fun. Well, that will be an exciting third and fourth quarter for you.
It will be.
Well, great. Jason, it's been great having you on the show today. Thank you for being with us.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for being with us. Today's guest is Jason Crouch, who's the head chef here at Hotel Carmichael. We'd like to thank Hotel Carmichael for sponsoring us, and we're shooting today from Feinstein's. We look forward to being with you on the next episode of The Omnibus Show.
If you enjoyed this program, please like, share, and subscribe to continue the conversation. For the Omnibus Show newsletter, please sign up at theomnibusshow.com.